Now, some of the trade dudes that we've talked about, Isaiah Simmons, right? That's just the conversation of if they can make a number with the package work. And that's the Omar Khan, man.
Just pray that he sucks in their training camp in the
Right.
secondary.
Yeah, if
they try to move him to
that,
safety, just pray that you hear a lot of bad reports.
He's going to be Taylor Mays as a safety. That's who he is as a safety. You remember Taylor Mays? We went to Cincinnati?
He was a beast.
In college, yes.
Yeah, USC.
Yes,
in
college.
He was trucking dudes all over the place.
Right. But at the NFL, man, them hips ain't like that, bro. And that's part of the issue when you talk about some of them big body guys like him. Man, I used to be shocked to see my man Cam Chancellor out there playing back there. I'm like, bro, you built like a linebacker, but he was smart enough, fundamentally sound enough, and he from the crib, so that also added an element to him. Shout out to the 757. But things like that were able to help him, be able to play in space like that. I don't know if Simmons gonna be able to do that though, man. Like, that's a different ballgame. The further back you are, man, the harder it gets, not just physically, but mentally, man. You got to really be locked in on this thing, and it's going to be a lot more on him like that. So I'm leaning with you.
Is it official they're trading Buda Baker?
He's been linked in rumors, but I don't know, like, what the scenario is with it right now.
Because where would Simmons even fit right now on the safety depth chart? They have him as their third guy.
He's not starting anywhere. That's, like, when they get to the point where they're moving you around, as a first-round draft pick, they're essentially saying, man, we don't know what to do with you. We don't have a person. We can't play you at linebacker. You're not beating out these dudes. Not even as a two-depth. We don't even want you there. So let's try to get you back here to at least say face it. If we can get you back to where you played it in college. But right now, you're too big to play nickel, realistically, in the NFL. But what you played in college was a very similar role as a nickel player. College, you can do that because of how the game is played. NFL-wise, it's just different in terms of how much space we have because of the hashes, man. It's a different game, man. You don't got that sideline right there to help you out, man. You got to really be able to do that thing out there. And that's not, I don't think, a situation where he's really going to thrive at trying to play nickel here. But you talked about the safeties already. So unless you get rid of Buda Baker, where is he getting on?
Which could happen, but
it could, yeah.
Not happened yet.
And if you do get rid of Buda, is Isaiah Simmons an upgrade over Buda Baker at safety?
No, but they're tanking.
You see what I'm saying?
They need to be tanking this year.
Right, but that's my thing. I'm like,
which is why they should probably trade him.
Be a fire sale.
They don't have the fifth-year option with him.
But them not picking up the
Do you view him
option
as a long-term answer with your team?
Them not
probably
picking
not.
up the fifth-year option was the first indicator. This is trouble. They're trying to see last-second Hail Mary, move him to safety, move him to the secondary. Does he magically surprise us? Maybe we were using him wrong these first couple of years, and he's going to just, magic trick.
And it's a new regime.
All right. New regime, and you struggling. Where do you fit? We're not going to pick up that option, and then we're just going to wait this thing out, or we're going to see if we can get a trade partner. If we can get a trade partner, great. Let's at least get some compensation for you. But what's the asking price? And that's the other part, because he still was a former first-round draft pick. So they not just want to give it away. But it's kind of like what we talked about even with Devin Bush going into his last year of, well, what is his real market if you're trying to trade him? Like, we're not going to get enough to where we feel like justified for it.
Right.
So you're either
I feel like we legitimately wanted to see what Bush would do that season, too.
Yeah.
To decide whether or not we wanted to give him a contract. Mm-hmm. Because he had the ACL injury, so he had that bad 2021. Mm-hmm. We were just wondering, all right, is he motivated?
Like, what's going on?
Are we going to get a different player? Are we going to get rookie season Devin Bush? Because if we get that, he's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if all that type of hope is lost over in AZ with Isaiah Simmons, though, yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because am I wrong going into last season? We still had hope with Devin Bush.
Yeah, and to me, when I think of Isaiah, I'm like, no real injuries. You could talk about whether the team has went. You could talk whether the organization has went. But you still want to see him being more productive in terms of like when you just cut the tape on. And that's...
I guess the thing that's in Devin Bush's favor, or was in Devin Bush's favor when he was here, and why we had hope in him still, or at least wanted to just see if he could tap into his potential, was that he was going to be a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Whereas Isaiah Simmons, he's moving all over the place. There.
It's like, man.
I feel like that hope is probably dwindling.
Mm-hmm. Because you're like, where can I at least feel like this is his strong point, or he's at least shown me positive plays here? We haven't seen Isaiah Simmons in the secondary playing like that, making plays at the NFL level. Nah.
Yeah, you didn't draft him to do that. You drafted him for some of that versatility.
Yeah.
But mainly be that middle linebacker.
No. Now, John Easton, he brought up a third for Simmons. To me, that's too high right now. I don't feel like he's been productive enough. Fifth, I was even going 6. Because we know what the situation is.
Most likely a 1-year rental.
Right.
And then if not, you got to pay him.
Mm-hmm. But if he balls out enough to where you actually do need to pay him, that's a good problem to have.
Good problem.
But then you also got to ask yourself the question of,
but that's why guys like Khalil Mack are only going for second rounders because teams got to take on that contract.
Yeah, very true.
That's all part of the equation.
Yeah.
And teams don't like having numbers go against their cap space. I mean, no matter if you're a good player or not, like people love to have that type of flexibility.
No, without a doubt.
They're obviously open and like to pay the good players, but then it's just less numbers that you can work with then going forward as a GM or a front office.